spouse is friends with someone of the opposite sex on Facebook, and they're interacting a lot. What do? Well, I can tell you what not to do. You don't just ignore it. That's a big mistake. You got to deal with it directly. And so this is no different than if you walked into a restaurant and found your husband or wife sitting with someone else at a table, and you would say, of the opposite sex, you would say, "What are you doing?" Oh, and by the way, if you don't know there's a problem, that is. Let me just let you know, okay? Just the two of you, I'm saying. Not as a group. You go, my company, we all went out with the boss to eat. Oh, that's different. But just the two of you, that's not smart, okay? But I believe it's even more dangerous because on Facebook, you can communicate in ways that no one knows. And so it can be very, very dangerous. So I recommend you stay clear of that. In case you don't think this is a problem, 2/3 of all divorces in America right now in the evidence section of the courtroom always involve the word Facebook. 2/3 of all divorces now involve Facebook. Now, Facebook itself, there's nothing wrong with that company, nothing wrong with the service they offer, okay? So I'm not trying to say cancel all your Facebook. If this is a problem, you may need to do that. If that's a driving reason why you're on Facebook, you need to be honest enough to admit that and get off of Facebook. But I want to encourage you to have the password of your spouse and know that that's in fact, I have encouraged you just to join accounts. And to where instead of, Bob's account and Mary's account, it's Bob and Mary's Facebook account. And that way you just know that, and that way it also communicates to other people that when they're communicating to you, they know that your spouse is on the same exact link. And that just keeps everything honest, keeps all on the up and up. So I encourage that. But let me just say this too. Here's where this really becomes a problem. It certainly can become a problem through work-related things and things like that. They start with work-related, but then go off of work-related very quickly. But they can also happen. I see a lot of the problems as a pastor with high school reunions, college reunions, old friends. That's where I see a lot of this. And let me just answer this for you before you even ask it to another part of this. Just because they were your best friend of the opposite sex before you got married doesn't mean they continue to be your best friend. Okay? The Bible says this, and we always say this in our wedding vows too, forsaking all others. And some people say, but we were best friends before I met my spouse, and so it's not really fair. And I would shake my head and go, yeah, right, I know. It's not fair. So, who said it had to be fair? Why does life always have to be fair? It's not fair. You're right. You didn't marry them. You married someone else. Therefore, that's not your best friend anymore. I would even go so far as to say they're really not your friend at all anymore. I know that seems a little strong, but I really believe that. And a good friend would understand why. I've actually had a guy say to me, yeah, but if I go on Facebook and tell this lady we're not going to talk anymore, it's really going to offend her. Well, dude, it's offending your wife. Who would you like to offend? I recommend you offending this girl that's going to wreck your marriage rather than you offend your wife. And so, I don't even have a Facebook page. I don't say that because I'm so moral or holy. I say it because I'm so busy, frankly, is my number one reason. But also, I just don't have time to interact like that. I don't know how people have time with that. It's funny that there's I know people spend hours on it. I'm like, what do you need goals? We need to sit and write some goals down for you? I don't understand. I mean, there's more to life than that. It's ridiculous. Oh, I have 60,000 friends. No, you don't. You have 60,000 people to check something. It's ridiculous. And so I just want to encourage you to, I don't mean this ugly, but get a life. Get like a good life that's real. I'm not trying to be ugly. Really, don't you have some goals and some plans and some dreams? Get those going. That's a little more important. And so I just encourage you. Some people say, oh, I do it for work. Very, very few people actually need to do that for work. I'm just telling you right now, very few people. It's really not about that if we're honest with ourselves, okay? So I just encourage you, just be very, very careful there. And also know that just because someone pings or bumps or whatever you call it now, doesn't mean you have to respond. My wife gets these guys and they don't mean anything bad by it. Even some people in the church that'll be like, I want to befriend her on Facebook. And I know they don't mean anything bad by it. They're just, they just think it's Bill and Jessica, but it's really just Jessica. I literally don't even have Facebook on my phone or on my computer at all. I would not even know how to register. I know nothing about it, okay, on purpose. It's not because I'm behind on technology. I just don't care to know that, okay? But she will just tell them, I'm sorry, I'm not going to befriend you. We are friends through my husband. I know that. I see you at church, but that's where it's going to end. And so because it's really more for her and her lady friends to do, and that's fine. But that's kind of a rule we have. It's not some super strict, like I wouldn't freak out if some guy asked her a question, she answered. I would be like, what'd you do, dude, talking to that guy? I wouldn't, I'm not doing that. But if there was a string of back and forth, I would say, I don't know the purpose of this. What's the deal? And so even if it seems innocent in the front, doesn't always mean it stays innocent. So I just encourage you to stay clear of that, okay? If that's a problem, I would cancel your subscription for a while and then come back and reload it if you have to. But don't be afraid to offend someone. Every once in a while, I've had someone call from high school. If it's a guy, I'll call him back. If it's a girl from high school or college, I don't call them back. I don't even call them once. And I'll just say, especially with someone I really knew and I was close with at that time, but that was so long ago. I mean, according to my kids, it was the dark ages. And so if I was friends with them, back then, I would just tell my secretary, I would just say, oh, yeah, you can tell them hello for me. I hope they're doing well, but that's it. Well, they want to talk to you. I know, but just tell them I'm not going to be able to do that. But just tell them hello for me and I hope they're doing good. That's it. And I don't even do that. I don't even say it directly to them. And again, you may say, but they're not going to understand that's going to offend them. And my answer to that is, I don't care. I don't mean that ugly, but I just don't. I care much more about what my wife thinks than I do about what some girl from 20 years ago thinks. I could care less. I mean, I understand why she'd be calling. I mean, come on. Anyways, but the point is, some of you are like, there's some desperate women out there. Okay, so anyways, the point is that, I'm talking like there's hundreds, it's like maybe 2 in 10 years. I don't know. But anyways, the point is that you just want to be careful there. Because here's what happens. When you go back to a high school reunion or classmates.com or on Facebook, you regroup with people like that, you tend to fall back into the role you used to be then. The problem is that you weren't married then. So it's just too easy to go back to high school you, to college you, to fraternity you, to sorority you. But that's not who you are now. And so that's why I don't recommend that. It's just too easy to fall right back into the old you. Make sense? So I would stay clear of that. Again, you may say, well, that's just ridiculous. You may be surprised if you talk to your spouse that they may already have an issue with it and you don't realize it. Okay? It's a good conversation to have on the way home or when you drop